There are many things that go into Apex that make the game feel fun and fresh. There's also many things that make the game very annoying, and it seems that oftentimes Apex finds himself removing these. Today, we're talking about the abilities that Apex has removed. Comment down below how many of these you actually got to experience. Firstly is Lifeline's passive ability, which is the revive shield. If you're OG enough to remember, old Apex allowed Lifeline to revive like any other legend. However, it allowed her to have a revive shield around her. This made it easy to revive your teammates and block damage or just simply bait out people by faking the revive. Well, over time, they not only deleted that shield, but also incorporated the Doc Drone. But did you know Doc Drone also had the revive shield at one point? But once again, Apex removed it. Her current revive is still very strong, but not what it used to be. Nothing's been the same since season 9. Next is one of my all-time favorites, and I'm so glad I got to experience this, the old days of the Wraith insta-Q. You may be slightly confused considering Q is only a key you press on mouse and keyboard, but Q just basically means you're tactical. And Wraith used to have an instant phase where she didn't have to charge her hand up and it didn't have an animation. You just immediately went into the phase. It was so fast and it allowed for some insane counterplays and some of the best YouTube moments in history. It was without a doubt that your best player on the team was always playing Wraith, at least when it came to gun skill. Whoever your Wraith main on the team was the person who was probably IGLing and probably the best in a lobby. Sadly, this got nerfed hard in season 5, which was June 2020, and it delayed the time to enter into the void state. Surprisingly enough, Respawn did an interview where they talked about wanting to make the game more fun again, and they did mention that Wraith insta-Q was a possibility. However, that never came to fruition. Number 3, and thank God this one is gone, but that was Seer's stun doing damage. This was his tactical ability, and honestly, it was the most broken legend for a season launch ever. The Seer scan would deal about 10 damage to any enemy scan. Seer in general has been changed so much, with his first change only coming a week after launch, but the scan specifically has also changed a lot. You no longer get guaranteed scans with the heartbeat sensor that used to be on there. They've removed so many of the features that it used to have. It's basically a brand new ability. Not complaining though, because it was extremely annoying. Number 4 was the removal of basically an entire legend, but might as well categorize it as abilities, and that was Revenant's ult and the Revenant silence. As you know, Revenant has now been reborn and the abilities are nothing like it used to be, and the old abilities simply got deleted. So Revenant's ultimate ability used to allow him to place a totem, which allowed him and his teammates to interact with it. And matter of fact, anyone could really interact with it. It would then put them in shadow form, and they would only take health damage. They would not go into fights with shields, but this wasn't a bad idea because they could immediately go into a fight, deal some damage. Once they died, they would be sent back to the totem to spawn back with full health and full shields and go right back into the fight, and it was so busted. People were pairing this with Wraith portals and Octane jump pads, and people were really abusing it. I'm glad that it's not being abused anymore, but I really like this ability and would have liked to have seen it stay around and maybe just have some tweaks. But the silence, on the other hand, felt pretty useless. So I'm glad Respawn did remove it, and I'm glad that he now has a massive leap ever since season 18. Now, lastly, this wasn't a removal of a specific ability, but it was a removal of the category of ability for one specific legend, and that was Pathfinder. As you know, Pathfinder originally started the game with the passive ability to scan beacon. Unfortunately, it wasn't long after that they decided to give this passive to many other legends, such as Crypto, and eventually Recon would roll out, and everyone had that ability. And Pathfinder went on for a very long time with no passive ability. After years of Pathfinder mains raging and asking for Pathfinder to get his justice, they eventually came out with an all-new perk system and the way that the legends work, and the whole story is much different now. Let me know down in the comments how many of these you got to experience in their original state before Respawn changed and removed it all. Like and subscribe for more Apex Legends videos like these, as well as news updates, drama, stories, and much more. And what are some other OG abilities that got removed that you miss? Until the next time, we'll see you all later.